sent my mom a text. I'm like, so we stopped at the Chick-fil-A Truett Cafe or whatever. I was like, but they don't have the chicken salad like they did last time. And they didn't have the coleslaw. And I sent frowny face. And I said, but they have fried okra and Brussels sprouts that were super tasty.
And
she's like,
sweet potato casserole.
And sweet potato casserole. And she replied back, that's lovely. I'm eating a can of chicken noodle soup. I was like, my bad.
Well, that was fun. It wasn't the Truett's Grill that we used to go to. This is a newer Truett's Grill.
Why are they so hard to open?
But we sat at the counter,
which was cool.
And what was cool was the waitress or server or whatever role you want to give the associate. She took the order, no notes, full memory.
And it's not the same as I'll take a number one. It's you get sides and all that kind of stuff.
And I think the other lady that was there too, I think they both, you know, they have to earn those positions.
I would agree with that.
But it was good. It was different. It was a change. And what we also noticed was that if you forget to scan your rewards, which is likely there because you're not standing at the register like normal, you can just go into the app and go, forgot to scan, and add it. However, with that being said, you mentioned that much like Starbucks, Chick-fil-A is changing their rewards. To what?
So they're also adding things to the menu soon. They have that new cauliflower chicken sandwich that's coming out. I think it's in Nebraska or someplace right now, but it's coming out on the app and on the menu soon. But they're changing it so that...
So Nebraska is where my cousin has her Chick-fil-A.
Is it her or is it her husband?
Oh, well, I guess they're married.
I mean, they're married, but yeah.
Well, either way, regardless, it doesn't matter. The cool thing was they said their very first customer was Warren Buffett.
That is kind of neat. That is definitely kind of neat. So the Chick-fil-A app or Chick-fil-A itself, just like Starbucks, because of inflation, they can no longer, in theory, this is why, they can no longer give away the free things with your rewards, your points, at such low levels. So where it used to be, say, 250 reward points to get a thing of hash browns, now you're going to be closer to 400 or 500 points in order to get these hash browns. Just like Starbucks, broski's gonna get
it's like you just
he's just in the middle of the intersection. Just like Starbucks used to be, for 50 of their reward points, you could get a free small hot coffee or a certain bakery item like a cookie or something like that. Now you have, it's double, it's 100 points. It used to be that for 150 points you could get a handcrafted beverage, like if you wanted a latte or something like that. Now it's 250 to 300, I believe is correct. They're basically having to add the amount of reusable,
Is it his store or is it his parents' store?
I thought it was his parents. It was his dad's, and
okay,
maybe he took over.
My bad.
Yeah, because I didn't think it was theirs. I think he worked there. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's still his dad's store as far as I know.
Okay.
And I don't know if franchises, if you can pass them down to the next person, because in order to open a Chick-fil-A franchise, you have to go through like this rigorous...
That would be the best way to get the experience required to qualify.
In order to qualify for it. That makes sense. That's true. But so like with Chick-fil-A or Starbucks at least, it's still 1 star per dollar spent. You just don't get to use... It just takes more stars now in order to redeem for the same things you could get before for half the cost.
So basically...
Oh, we're back in that traffic.
What it boils down to is similar to exactly what we had explained just the other day after having eaten Chick-fil-A. Was that the prices are going to go up. And there's nothing you can do about it.
You gotta get on board or get left behind.
I mean,
kind of thing.
If they're doubling the amount of points required to redeem the rewards, they're going up on prices.
Yeah. Or what if it's one of those things that in order to not have to go up on prices, we double up on the reward points, so we're not giving away so much food for so few points. What if that's one of the ways that certain places are trying to keep their prices in line?
I mean, it's 6 one way, half done the other. They're still making people buy twice as much to get the same. So it's either you're going to buy twice as much to get the points, or you're going to get half as much for the points that you use.
Yeah, but you have to look at it from the aspect that it technically is. Those points are a perk. They are not a necessity. They are not a guarantee.
You know that the points are factored into the price to begin with when they offered it.
Possibly, but no, because when Chick-fil-A One, the app came out, they didn't raise their prices on the menu. The app just came out.
Exactly, but they knew moving forward that they were going to raise their prices. They can't tell you exactly what they're going to do when they do it. They got it. This is a business.
That's true.
You have to be strategic with the marketing. For instance, the title and thumbnail of this video. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but odds are it's probably going to be hella clickbait. And that's to get the butts in the seats.
Because nobody's going to click it if you just said, hey, this is what's happening with Chick-fil-A's app.
It's my chocolate covered carrot. You're going to eat your vegetables, but I'm going to make you want to eat your vegetables.
By putting chocolate on it.
But interestingly enough, the prices are going up. The simple fact of the matter is, and if you want to even have a chance of survival, best word, unless you got a better word, you're going to have to make more money. You're going to make more money and or you're going to have to cut back. Therefore, if you don't make more money, you're going to have to cut back, but eventually the costs are going to outweigh the cuts.
So you're going to have to, in order to survive, you're going to have to make more money, but in order to continue to live life at the pace you want to live life or you are accustomed to living life, you're going to have to make even more beyond the survival mode. That's kind of what it comes down to, because having Chick-fil-A isn't surviving. I mean, being able to afford beans and rice and a vegetable and a protein, that's surviving. Technically, being able to go to Chick-fil-A or Starbucks, it's having the means to go a little bit above and beyond. But you also have to be able to make more money in order to go above and beyond a little bit.
You know what my greatest fear in life is?
Spiders. No, wait, that's me. What?
Not being able to eat Chick-fil-A.
Because it
and having being forced to eat a McDonald's chicken sandwich.
I used to love McChicken though. No, that McChicken used to be so good because it was all spicy, and then that shredded lettuce, and then I'd put extra mayonnaise on it. Oh man.
Man, I'd be eating that chicken, and there'd be some weird tendons and pieces.
Oh yeah,
in there. Like, man,
that's true. That's true. I feel like once or twice we had that at Chick-fil-A too, though, with a breakfast biscuit. If you weren't careful, you got that piece. You're like,
That was during the chicken shortage.
That was during the chicken shortage.
Which was actually interesting because somebody said on a comment somewhere, it might have been on G.I. Justin. I might have been reading G.I. Justin's comments, and they were saying that during the egg shortage, Walmart was one of their biggest routes to deliver eggs. But during the egg shortage, when the price went up, you know what Walmart did? They stopped ordering eggs.
Yeah.
So there was no shortage.
No, I knew that.
Stopped ordering. Well,
I said that before. In order for the prices to go up, it has to look like there is a shortage. And in order for there to be a shortage, you have to quit putting so many out on the shelves. You have to quit ordering so many, whatever else.
Then there was. It was manufactured for the fact that they didn't buy as many. So there was a shortage technically. That's not what people thought the reason was behind the shortage, which is also the reason behind the banking failures and the banking collapses, which a lot of people don't quite understand how and why that's happening. And potentially likely now, today, reports coming out that there's 190 more banks on the list of potentially being at risk, like Silicon Valley Bank.
Is it gonna be all little banks? Because I'm telling you, the little banks are the ones that they want gone. The little banks is the one that PNC is going to come in and go, I got you, and they're going to swoop them up. Or HSBC, isn't that what it is? HSBC?
Yeah.
That the government let go in and buy SVB for like $1, even though they wouldn't sell it to PNC for a higher price point, which in itself is slightly shady.
But folks, this is the economy. This is the switch over, the change, the evolution, the reset, basically.
So real quick about the eggs. So I buy all of our eggs at Whole Foods because they're the only place that I've found with a good price for pasture raised eggs, because I like the way they taste. I feel better after eating those versus other ones, whatever. When the egg shortage started, Whole Foods was the last one to come out with the limit 2 per customer on the shelves for eggs. You can only get 2 cartons, right? Now, the shelves were never bare, never once were they bare, but instead of having 50 of each kind, they had maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of each kind for a while, and then they had 10, then they had 15. Now they're back up to like 40 of each kind, and the shelves are completely full, but that limit 2 per customer is still in effect, and that's happening in a lot of places. And I think that that's to kind of keep the panic alive with people.
Well, what about this? Limit 2 of what?
The eggs.
How many would you think someone would want to buy if they didn't have a limit?
Depending on the size of the family. Maybe 2, maybe 3.
Oh, okay, 3, all right. So, but what about this? What if this provokes them to return to the store sooner than expected to try to get even more sales out of them for other?
Which is what it did to me, because we go through
impulse
eggs.
buys.
So instead of going once a week and buying 4 or 5 cartons, I was going every other day and getting however many we needed.
And then making other impulse purchases.
Oh yes, because normally when you're going, it's when you're hungry.
So we are now, you can pan and show the traffic, the beautiful I-75 traffic. But that's enough of that.
That's
but
enough of that.
This trip to Atlanta and then to Orlando put us in a the right place at the right time to be able to go to Truett's, which is cool, because going to Destin, we don't go down 75, so we don't get to pass Truett's Grill. But now we're headed to Orlando for the second leg of this birthday weekend, spring break vacation from vacation, which is still odd, because saying you're going on vacation when you live at the beach is really strange.
It feels redundant, right?
We're going on vacation. Where are you going? We're going to Atlanta. Oh, really? What'd you do wrong?
Yeah, I'm about to say, Atlanta's not really vacation.
So, but now Orlando. But ironically, I want to bring you guys some information about a story I came across about a 44-year-old woman and her husband who have retired early, but they still work. But they don't work because they have to. They work because they want to. They enjoy the work that they do. So check this out. So what it all boils down to is getting to the point of which you can live your life free and not necessarily under the thumb of an employer or a job that you don't necessarily love and it doesn't pay you enough to even consider the idea of retiring, let alone retiring at the age of 44 or possibly even younger. Putting yourself in a position to have just enough money to tell anyone to F or F off if you like, because you don't have to do what they say. You don't have to be told what to do, and no, you don't have to be tied to a desk or a job. You can actually live your life. But there's more to it than just saving money. And we're gonna look here at what this person in particular was able to accomplish, as this one woman says that she works part-time for a local theater company in her hometown of Buffalo, New York, and practices writing and other creative pursuits, while her husband, who also left his IT job 2 years ago, spends his time weightlifting, volunteering with the local search and rescue team, and fostering dogs. So folks, this is about doing what you love and loving what you do. Now that my whole life is only stuff I want to do, taking time off is very tricky. I understand. Every day feels like, well, I'm only doing fun stuff, but then you see 6 weeks later, time will go by and you'll be exhausted. But it's a better exhausted than being tired of sitting at work behind a desk. Instead, you are living your life, creating memories, having a blast doing it, and potentially motivating others to do the same. This woman, Chi, I'm not sure if this is Chi or Chai, says that it's not that she didn't want to work per se. She wanted to be able to spend her days pursuing her passions without worrying about finances. And some people might say that doesn't really count as early retirement, but Chi doesn't need the money that she earns from the theater. She's free to do whatever she wants with her time. And it actually took me a little while to come to to accept the fact that technically we are retired. However, we still continue to work, we still continue to make money in a variety of ways, but we don't have to go to work. We aren't stuck in a job, and we aren't working towards retirement, which is ultimately taking the time to live your life, use your time the way that you would like to, be free, and also have the ability to, cover your life expenses. It says here that we don't have to spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week earning a paycheck. Whatever you would fill that time with, that's the reason to retire early, she says. All I want to do is creative stuff all day, every day, and that's what I'm doing. And I, as a content creator, can 100% agree and see why someone would want to do that, because that's pretty much all we want to do is spend time with each other, make memories, and enjoy the moments together that we have as family, but not work 40, 50, 60 hours a week to earn a paycheck. However, what we do does earn money. And folks, if you guys are interested in learning how you can do the same. And my phone. All right, so evidently it's a little too windy outside for this phone to be sitting up on this tripod like this, because it fell over. And I don't know if it did it or scratched the car. I'll have to check and see, but at least I didn't break my phone, so that's a plus. However, the bad news is the DJI mic did not survive. I think it still works, but it's a little beat up, it's a little banged up. I'll have to get a new one. Well, plus side is the mic still works, but it's a little banged up. But either way, folks, you know, if you guys are interested in learning how you too can take advantage of these opportunities and put yourself in a position to potentially retire early, or at least have the ability to earn extra income on the side and maybe cut down on the amount of hours you work to start living your life, doing things that are more creative, having more fun, creating memories, then by all means, feel free, contact me. And it says here that she declined to say exactly how much the couple saved before they decided to leave their jobs. But she did say that the so-called lean fire, in which someone aims to earn $1 million in savings before retiring, was quote unquote not enough. And for her and her husband to feel comfortable taking the plunge, they were going to need a considerable amount more than the $1 million. And that kind of goes without saying, folks. 2023, recession, high inflation, things just aren't what they once were. $1 million is not a lot of money when you really think about it, especially when trying to retire at 44, especially if you don't have ways of continuously earning more. $1 million will be, you'll run through that relatively quickly. She was refreshingly candid about how she and her husband were able to retire decades earlier than some. Of course, the couple implemented a number of the tried and true early retirement money saving strategies that drive one vehicle. They drive one vehicle, max out their 401k and IRA retirement accounts every year, and cut superfluous spending. They did not have children, which she called a huge savings, but all of that was possible, she says repeatedly, because of the privileges she and her husband have, especially their high-paying jobs while living in a relatively affordable city, and they haven't had a big medical issue, she says. And there are no other large expenses that they have to account for, and they do not have student loan debt. But just because they don't have it doesn't mean that you can't accomplish this. You can't accomplish this as well in your own right, because if we think about it, they don't have it, but this is one of the things that I touch on frequently, which is, you know, earning more money, spending less than you make, having a strong, solid budget, eliminating high interest or any interest debt, revolving debt, saving and investing. So if you think about it, if you're working towards building up for retirement, but you still have high expenses, then you're kind of fighting. You're kind of like, you know, like driving into the wind, and that's not necessarily helping you. You want the wind at your back, helping to push you along further, easier. So, you know, they have privilege, but I think anybody could work towards getting in these same positions, getting high-paying jobs, and living in affordable cities. Think about it, folks. These are simple, easy ways of saving money. But it says, I'm a white, able-bodied person who was raised by middle-class parents and didn't have to pay for college, she says. Yes, there was a lifestyle component, But it's not just avoid avocado toast. That's just such bullshit. That said, while many similarly privileged people feel like they must drive certain types of cars, live in specific cities, or use a particular brand of skincare, life doesn't have to be that way, she says, and that was a big mindset change that she herself made a few years into her career. Someone who bikes everywhere to save money, like Mr. Money Mustache, might be on the extreme end, but she says even realizing that not needing two cars was a possibility made her rethink how she was living. That led her to decide that family only really needed one car, that wouldn't work for every single household and individual financial situation, but questioning standard consumption habits can be helpful for anyone looking to save a little bit of money. It made me question, she says, everything and examine every purchase and decision in a way I hadn't before. And earlier in her career, she was buying the standard trappings of an under or upper middle class: new clothes, expensive bags, getting her nails and hair done, seeing an esthetician, 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 I can't say that word, regularly. And she cut out that, and she cut most of that out when early retirement became her priority. Those things didn't make me any happier. I didn't know I wanted to retire early, but I knew I was in a privileged position and I wanted to leverage that to be financially healthy. And none of this is to say that privilege kept Chi from being burnt out at her former job. She was experiencing chest pains from the stress, and when she retired, she took 6 months to aggressively rest before diving into her passions full time. And I definitely had luck and privilege, she says, but a lot of people have luck and privilege, and they could meet their goals and be a lot happier if they shifted their lifestyles. She is often asked how her family would handle an emergency, medical or otherwise, that might necessitate one of them returning to work. Those kinds of questions don't faze her, though. One of them simply is find a job, she says. And a potential emergency expense is not a reason to not pursue a dream like early retirement. She says that what if one of us has an illness? It can happen, I guess, but it could happen to anyone. And she says, noting that she had a major surgery last year and it didn't derail their retirement in the slightest. They buy health insurance through the New York State Exchange, which works for them. And any of those things that might happen to us might happen to anyone who planned on working their whole life and now can't. You gotta understand that and really accept it for what it is, folks. She says that she and her husband try to live as small as humanly possible so that they can minimize larger expenses, or at the least prepare for them when they come along. They love living in Buffalo, which provides community and access to the arts at an affordable price. They plan to live in their home for the rest of their lives. Living small is something she wishes more people in a similar financial position would try. And even an adjustment of 10% could give you enough FU money to leave a job that you hate, is what she says. And if you are in that privilege group, take a look and just do it. And folks, you can see here that there's actually a list, some opportunities here, 5 side hustles where you may earn over $20,000 per year, all while working from home. Expert advice to keep your money safe during bank failures. UFB direct savings account is offering an APY above 5% and with no fees. While also we see here that this is how much money you need to earn annually to comfortably buy a $600,000 home. Now, after having read their story and understanding the choices that they've made to put themselves in the position that they're in, I feel like you would work at Truett's Grill.
Oh yeah, I would totally.
But maybe not Truett's Grill, because obviously there isn't one where we live. But you've even said that you would go work at restaurants on the beach.
Yeah.
And that is what it's about. It's about, 1, getting out of the rat race, 2, earning enough money not only to survive, but to have enough to retire and enjoy life. Not work every single day until you can't work anymore.
I agree.
But then it's like the big question, which actually I asked Anthony yesterday, if you could retire, what would you do?
I mean, I have my answers, but my answers, I have twofold.
Because technically we're retired.
Technically, we're retired,
But we still work.
but we still work, doing the things that we like to do and want to do.
When you do what you love, you'll never
work a day. Yes, that's how that one goes. But I would still love to at some time open up a children's bookstore that's more like a small coffee shop for kids, so that it's fun and it's interesting and it's not punishment to go read a book or do these kind of things. I don't know. It's just a thing I have in my mind.
Remember you saw those two teenagers at Starbucks? Where their date was to go to Starbucks, grab coffee, and read books?
Yes, that was like the coolest thing. Yeah. They showed up, we were at Starbucks one day and ordering, and this girl and guy come in, and they both had books with them. They came in, and as a date, they ordered coffee and sat down at a table, and they each read a book. But, you know, he reached over and was like playing with her hair while he read his book, and she had her hand like on his knee while she was reading a book. But I was like, you don't expect to see that with 16 and 17-year-olds today. You expect to see them on their phone, on TikTok, sitting next to each other, but not paying attention to each other. And the fact that they chose books, like, I was impressed. I even told them I was impressed. I got them a gift card. I remember I went and got them a gift card, and I was like, for your next coffee date, because I just thought it was really cool they were reading books.
So that's pretty cool. And that's, I think, something people should really think about. Is like, what do you enjoy, and how can you get there in life to be able to do more of what you enjoy that doesn't involve always working?
Yeah.
However, if what you enjoy is the work you do and working, then there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah. Like, I would go wait tables all day long because I like talking to people and interacting with people. And if I could do it on the beach, that's just like a win-win. I get to be where I love to be the most and meet new people.
And make some good money.
And make some good money because I'm a damn good waitress.